When I first decided to build this PC, I thought this was going to be called the ugliest PC that I have ever built. All of the parts were sourced from friends, and a few parts I had to buy on my own. I spent a total of $175. I bought the CPU, the motherboard, the RAM, the CPU cooler, and the graphics card, and then also the SSD. Everything else was sourced through a friend. This NZXT Phantom case, bright red case here, was sourced from a friend that no longer was using it. Power supply came from a pre-built that my friend is no longer using. It's not 80 plus rated. Obviously has the ketchup and mustard cables, which make it look a lot more ugly than it should be. And then there's a 1TB Seagate mechanical drive that was also sourced from that same pre-built. I just reformatted it and put Windows on the SSD that I purchased. So we have a nice 1TB hard drive for storage that was free. Now, I think it is true that this is the ugliest computer that I've ever built, but with all said and done, I actually think this looks not that bad. I think it all kind of goes together. I thought with the bright red case and a light blue Gigabyte motherboard that this was not going to look all that great, especially with the ketchup and mustard cables. But I actually think it all works together, especially with the blue LEDs on the CPU fan. But let's go over the parts that we have here. As I said, we have this bright red NZXT Phantom case. It's a really old case, but it still holds up well. Thermals aren't going to be that bad. There is quite a bit of airflow that we can use in this case with a top mounted fan, rear exhaust, and also a front mounted fan here with some mesh covers. Next, the motherboard is a Gigabyte Z68 motherboard. It's a micro ATX motherboard I got for $50, brand new on eBay, and it is supporting our i5 2500K, which I did overclock to 4.5 gigahertz for our testing here. And then I also have a GTX 1060 3GB from EVGA. This I sourced from Facebook Marketplace for $50. And the RAM is Corsair Vengeance DDR3 RAM, which I sourced from eBay for $25 as well. All said and done, we spent a total of $175 on parts. Everything else was sourced from friends who were willing to give up parts they were no longer using. Getting hand-me-down PC parts is not a bad idea for someone who's strapped for cash. If you know friends that are in PC gaming and have been for a while, if they have any spare parts laying around, ask if you can have it, or ask if you can have it for a couple bucks. Great way to save money. I'm just so very lucky to have some friends that are willing to give me parts that they're no longer using. So Paul and Anthony, thank you very much for sourcing the parts for this build. I can't thank you enough because this gaming PC is going to do great at 1080p for a lot of modern titles. And we're going to go ahead and get into those benchmarks right now to see how this system performs. Alright, as you can see in these benchmarks, the system is very capable of playing games, modern games today at 1080p. It is struggling quite a bit with games like Red Dead Redemption 2 and Call of Duty Warzone. The overclock on the CPU definitely helps, but I think the i5 2500K is nearing the end of its life. So be wary before you spend your money. I know it's cheap and it's a great way to get into PC gaming, But beware that $30 for the 2500K and a $50 motherboard is not going to take you that far for very long. And it is all going to depend on the games that you want to play. I did cover in a previous video on the i5 2500K and how it still performs today with a better graphics card than I have in this system. If you want to see that, click on the link up here. And with that i5 2500K, I did mention with modern day consoles coming out with the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5, they're both coming out with 8-core CPUs. So I think very soon we're going to start seeing games that are going to start utilizing more cores here in the next couple years. So with this 4-core, 4-thread CPU from Intel way back in the day, it's not going to last very much longer. So definitely keep that in mind before you buy it. It's probably not worth it if you're looking for a long-term solution. I would definitely look to Ryzen for something that you want to solve all your problems for the long term. One of the biggest problems that we had with Warzone was due to the limitation of VRAM that we had on the graphics card. Like I said, we're using the 1060 3GB model, and this also caused a problem with Doom Eternal. Well, I think it could have handled higher settings, especially if I like mixed in between like medium and low, but I just wanted to use a preset. So I could only use a low preset without it giving me a warning that I didn't have enough VRAM to run the game. So with Doom Eternal and Warzone, the 3GB of VRAM on this graphics card are definitely going to limit you in performance as well as getting the ultimate experience in graphics. So keep that in mind as well. I did only get the 1060 graphics card for $50 on Facebook Marketplace, so I don't think I lost out with that kind of deal. But I would say for a 3GB 1060, you shouldn't be spending more than $50. If you're still spending in the hundreds for that card, you're definitely getting ripped off. So keep that in mind as well. Alright guys, I think that's going to be it for this video. Let me know down in the comments what you think of this NZXT Phantom case. How do you think it holds up here in 2020 as far as aesthetics look? And tell me, did you have this case when it was new? That's going to be it guys. I look forward to hearing you down in the comments. Remember to like the video and subscribe so you can see more from us, and I'll see you guys in the next video.